Hello, this is Andrew Fidler, coming to you as always from the city of Toledo with LaPlante Real Estate. We are discussing the end of 2024. So the real estate market in Toledo is as consistently steady as we would expect. We do not see the peaks or pits that occur in our coastal cities. The city of Toledo had real estate increase in value by 9%. Northwest Ohio increased by 7%. So those are perfectly reasonable returns. We expect to see the real estate market to continue in that same trajectory. Now, the rental rate market, we're seeing a slowdown. Now, we always see a slowdown seasonally as people don't want to move in the cold weather nor over the holidays unless they must. However, we have had some economic changes in the city that I want to telegraph and share. Jeep, Chrysler, Stellantis, all the same company, but it depends on which brand you identify with, is one of our major employers. We have two large manufacturing plants, assembly plants in town. If you're in our preferred zip code of 43612, where our office is located, and then the adjacent 43613, then your real estate profile is directly affected by the fact that they are acknowledging that they're not going to see the expansion of the electric vehicle market like they were anticipating. So they have laid off 1,100 workers from the automotive plant, and they're not a short-term layoff. They are go get a new job, go to the unemployment line, go get retrained, permanent layoffs. And then we're expecting threefold more, 3,300, to be coming, so twofold more, to be coming from associated jobs. You know, folks that are cleaning, folks that are maintaining and contracting inside of those plants to also be laid off. With a job market of roughly 250,000 people, we're looking at kind of 1% of the workforce is affected with that series of layoffs. I would also say nationally and globally, but nationally we have a unique election situation. And then we have the new president coming in and stating that we're going to go through some tariff wars. And so that will affect global trade, and that will affect our ability to produce and export as well as purchase and import. So we have some uncertainty on that. The last is this concept of deporting illegal immigrants. I would predict we're going to see some change in labor rates, specifically maintenance and renovation rates could be affected. We don't know. So we're all just kind of walking together. 2024 also had the election in the suburb of Maumee. Maumee had a rental property ordinance that was requiring a self-propagating concept of fees, requiring mandatory upgrades to properties. There's no grandfathering for them, and then inspections. And so the great thing is that was soundly defeated. That moved into higher state legislature, and then it ended up being voted in the November election, and that was soundly defeated. So we don't have any craziness with our clients that invest inside of the city of Maumee, and my own mother-in-law is buying in that area. So it's a fine market to continue to participate in. City of Toledo activity within Section 8. We are finding that the Section 8 program is now adopting a HUD program called Inspire. It's the word inspire missing the letter I. And this is a broad standard of requiring homes to be brought to any standard the inspector feels they want to see. Just today we had a backyard shed which was just, for storing lawnmowers, but it is just a shed with a dirt floor, and the inspector failed that property until a floor is installed in the shed. They go through the property previously, so I would contrast this to typical Section 8 homes only had to meet minimum standards. One window per room had to work, and that had to have a screen. Now every window will work. It will have a screen. And so that is causing us a little bit of hardship with the lease renewing process, but they're still a very solid investment vehicle. So I'm personally participating in them. We're kind of working together with Section 8 to get this new Inspire program active and just see how it interacts. There have been one or two properties that we have just removed from Section 8 renting if the Inspire demands are excessive. Additionally, Section 8 is now finding peeling paint, and with the peeling paint on a property manufactured before 1978, built before 1978, which is the entire city of Toledo, they are stating that we want a lead paint dust wipe test. So that is that city of Toledo lead ordinance that they're requiring. And that is long, is arduous and expensive to repair all the peeling paint that might have been there, and then hire a lead inspector to take dust samples and mail those off to a lab and prepare a report back to Section 8. If you have a new property that is ready for a resident to move in, nothing can proceed on the property. No resident can move in until you pass the dust wipes, and that can take several weeks to finalize and get back from the lab. So that definitely is an expensive event. On the LaPlante's side, we are pre-inspecting all of the properties, and we are doggedly removing peeling paint as a concern from them. And the threshold, for example, the lead ordinance in Toledo doesn't go into the basement of the property. However, Section 8's allowed to say we found peeling paint in the basement of the property. We want a lead ordinance across the whole thing. There is no update on the City of Toledo lead ordinance. Nothing has occurred with it. We are filing lead certificates. Anytime we have that Section 8 requirement, we get a City of Toledo permit on the property. So we don't have too much trouble from that standpoint. The City of Toledo has a motion in council presently to require a dumpster for properties that have an eviction that has occurred. So currently we're allowed to use the curb and call for a bulk pickup with Republic Services as a trash provider, and we are able to remove the trash from the curb without the additional fee of a dumpster. If this ordinance were to go through City Council and its Q&A phase, and I'll be involved in that, I'm sure I'll have future updates, but if that moves into an ordinance requirement where we have to bring in a dumpster, that will be, I would say, a $500 expense. It's like a normal size dumpster. We've got to get bigger dumpsters. That'll be more expensive. So hopefully we can see reason on that and move that off of the ledger as a potential item. Inside of LaPlante Real Estate for 2024, the concept of property managers has been fully activated. We've been doing that for the entire calendar year. And then we expanded that concept to not simply have a property manager and then have tertiary staff. We ended up forming them into a pod, a team to support the property manager. And so your property manager has a resident coordinator and then a maintenance coordinator, and then each one of the pods have a team name. So we have the home team, we have the Phoenix team, and we have the Maverick team. And between those three teams, hopefully you know which property team name and property manager is in your group. It's always at the top of your owner's statement if you want to know who to speak to inside of the organization. The 2025 property management agreement has 0 changes, so I'm super happy to report there is nothing to itemize on that end. The 2025 residential lease agreement has a major change that I want to take a minute and outline for you. So currently, when we have single-family homes where residents pay water, that water bill is tracked separately. Aaron Miller is the staff member, but we have a spreadsheet that lives in water bill land to track what water bills have been paid, what water bills have come in, where those stand. And then you have the residence ledger that lives inside of our property management software at Folio. The two don't equal each other, and when we file in eviction court, we have to try to grab the spreadsheet information and get it into the ledger. But the two aren't automatically connected, and definitely you can't have a tertiary staff member bring up the resident ledger and see the water bill at the same live telephone call with the resident. Residents also have the authority to make a payment plan presently. And so if they owe $3,000 to the water department, they're allowed to create a payment plan. And then annoyingly, when the Department of Public Utilities, DPU is the water department here, when DPU generates a payment plan, that $3,000 goes away from the water bill. And so we have a large disconnect with several of our residents who then pay they either stop paying the agreed amount because it's no longer visible to them, and then they just pay the future water bill amount. Or conversely, they simply pay the agreed on dollar amount when they were on the telephone for the $3,000, and future water bills go unpaid. So there's been a lot of confusion with that, and there's been a major problem from the standpoint that owners are responsible for the water. And so at the end of the day, when that resident moves out, that $3,000 liability, which is no longer appearing on the bills, comes back to haunt the owner, and it is something we're rectifying in 2025. LaPlante Real Estate pays the water bill in the new program, the new process. That gets the owner away from late fees, one of the items that the resident was always paying the water bill, but then they're responsible for the late fees. But if they default and get an eviction, then the owner's stuck with all of that at the end of the day. It also comes back from the, hey, we want to go onto a payment plan from the owner's standpoint. And if the resident has already enacted a payment plan, then it muddies that relationship and that history of payments with the water department. The water bills, once they're paid by, for the owner by LaPlante, are added to the resident's ledger. They immediately go onto the resident's ledger, and that water bill is paid with the next rent payment. If they don't pay the water bill and the rent, then they are delinquent in their payments, and they go into our standard $300 threshold for a 3-day notice and following up with eviction. Hopefully we have communication with the resident early, but if things go downhill, that's our procedure. None of that would change. Only difference is it'll show up on our ledger. There are no payments to the DPU, Department of Public Utilities, by the resident, and they also are not allowed to do payment plans. The goal is to have the resident liability transparent and readily accessible for various departments within our organization. So that is a wrap on 2024 from the standpoint of the company. The company reflects the city of Toledo. We are steady, we are motivated, we're organized, and it's definitely promised that 2024 was an exciting year, and we're looking to just continue the reality that the city of Toledo is nationally recognized as a strong investment market. It is a market that a lot of folks come to, and we want to ensure that they're welcome and successful inside of our town. As always, thank you for entrusting LaPlante Real Estate with your portfolio in the current year and in 2025. So thank you.